river. And one thing I love about hosting events at Collision Bend Brewing is the caliber of food and the beer that you're going to get a chance to enjoy. They are wonderful hosts. They've always been in Share the River's court with regards to hosting events and being creative and saying, how can we leverage this beautiful asset that is right off of our porch? And if I can, Michael Grano, I think you are somewhere here. Folks, let's give a hand to our host, Michael Grano at Collision Bend.
Well, first I'd like to say really quickly, thanks for Jim. He does really great work on the river, introducing a lot of people to this great resource that we have. We've done this for 3 years in a row now, and this is the best turnout that we've had yet. And so we're just really thankful to have everybody that comes out to participate in this event, all the people that take care of us all summer long, from the Metroparks to the Coast Guard to the firemen to the police officers, to help make this area a really fun place to live and work and enjoy. So I'm going to pass this mic back to Jim. Please, folks, we really hope you enjoy and come visit us all summer long here at Collision Bend.
So some of you may wonder how we got such a wonderful name for the CWIOFB. And if we could just think back to 2 years ago, we were all coming out of a global pandemic. And that was 2021. And here I am thinking, are we going to have summer in 2021? And one of the things that I noticed happened right off the shore of Lake Erie was the NFL draft, and seeing how Destination Cleveland partnered with the NFL to bring a major event that happened in an outside environment. People loved it, people showed up, and that was my impetus to say, we are moving forward with Blazing Paddles Paddle Fest. It was a pivotal year for us because what I didn't at the time understand was, at that time, recreational paddlers were flooding the nation's natural bodies of water. And quite frankly, the Cuyahoga River has seen an influx of paddlers who have learned about the Cuyahoga River up in the footprint of Cuyahoga Valley National Park, and they're getting curious about what's farther on down that body of water. So it seemed to me in 2019 that we should host a safety presser for the Cuyahoga River Safety Task Force. And oh, by the way, people were all zoomed out after 2 years of doing these remote meetings. So I said, guys, what do you think about having an event down by Collision Bend? And the first folks showed up, and the CWIOFB was born. And part of what the vision for this safety briefing is, previous safety events had guys in wonderfully starched uniforms with weapons on their hips. And that can get the attention of folks, but if we want to truly encapsulate the full narrative of large investments in stormwater infrastructure that have been made, huge amounts of remediations by the EPA into the river, and then we have things like large and engaged stakeholder advocacy for this comeback Cuyahoga River. It's the rising tide that has lifted a lot of ships, and here we are now able to look at this body of water that is in turn now, instead of being a pipeline for pollution, it's a conduit for tourism and recreation. And that is a story that only Cleveland can tell. And last year was the 50th anniversary of the Clean Water Act. And now we have an opportunity to continue to tell our story about how rivers are arteries of commerce and they're economic drivers for the region. So, with that, I'd like to introduce my first speaker, Commander Jeremy Maginot. Commander Maginot has been the commanding officer for Marine Safety Unit Cleveland since I think around that 2021 period. And in fact, this may be one of the last events that Commander Maginot does under his leadership over at MSU Cleveland. So I'm going to let Jeremy take over the microphone.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. And we'll just roll this, right? So as Jim said, my name is Lieutenant Commander Jeremy Maginot. I'm the Commanding Officer of Coast Guard and Marine Safety Unit Cleveland. This is my third year in the job. I checked in June 2020, so things are looking a little bit different, all for the better. But it's really exciting, and I'm happy to be here as we mark the start of the 2023 recreational boating season here in Northeast Ohio, in the city of Cleveland, and specifically here on our Cuyahoga. So as Jim says, this is a unique event, right? And there's a lot of elements to the event, whether it's the different stakeholders that come together that each present their own piece of the pie, right? Everybody here has a diverse interest, and the Coast Guard and our other LE entities form kind of part of that vital safety net on the river, but so do you all. So thank you again. Specifically, as I said, Jim, thanks for getting us all together here. And as we work as a community to commemorate the National Safe Boating Week. So while each entity or organization present here has its own interests related to our mixed-use waterway, we join here today in unison and concurrence that regardless of the activity, whether commercial or recreational, it must be completed safely and with an eye for sharing this vital element of our nation's marine transportation system. Now, I recognize that the people here today are not necessarily the most vulnerable or inexperienced, right? I mean, we're the believers. But what I ask of you is that in your own personal and professional capacities, help spread the word and the importance of recreational boating safety to help lower incidents of preventable accidents that often lead to property damage, injuries, and even fatalities in the water. And while the Coast Guard and other emergency services are semper paratus, or always ready to respond to distress calls that may occur, we have a vested interest as this maritime community to ensure that our community is best prepared on the water and to share those best practices with others so that we can work collectively to prevent any unfortunate or preventable accident. So like last year and the year before, when I was presented with an opportunity to share remarks at this event, I highlighted the importance of planning and prevention. And this year is no different. I believe the following tenets and recognize their importance in ensuring a safe recreational boating season. My message is clear, my message is simple. Wear a life jacket and an engine cutoff switch, check your equipment and file a float plan, and never boat under the influence. Thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you all, and a special heartfelt thanks for your hospitality over the course of my tour here in Cleveland. It's been meaningful and very wonderful for my family. Thank you, Jim.
And maybe I'll share a little too much information, but Commander Maginot liked this area so much that he put in for a duty station that allowed him to basically go back to school and stay here and keep his family out on the east side. So we've got another convert. I moved here from San Diego. Jeremy's been around a few other places. But thanks for hanging out in our area.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So I mentioned this body of water here used to be a pipeline for pollution, and now it's a conduit for tourism and recreation. But in the 50 years since the bad old days, a ton of remediation work had to be done, not only inside the river, but also in all of the watersheds that feed into the Cuyahoga River. And I'd like to invite Mark Johnson from Ohio EPA to come up here and share a few thoughts. Mark?
And again, I wanted to thank and appreciate USA Today readers and the recognition of the Cuyahoga River being the best urban kayaking spot in America. And honestly, my best response to that is just looking kindness. Everybody who uses this river and knows this river, we knew this already, but it's great to be finally recognized for it. So thank you for that. I want to take a step back in time, back to around 1969. I was not alive, obviously, but some of our colleagues here at EPA were. And the river was just in pretty poor shape. It caught fire multiple times. Some brave souls could probably walk across the river with all the debris and the oil and all the industrial waste and untreated human waste that was in the river. We kind of treated it as a dumping ground, unfortunately. But, I want to, just to focus on that for a quick minute, because that really helped leverage and was the catalyst for why we are here today and we can enjoy the river to this view. Back in the 60s, when the fire was happening, Time Magazine ran an article back in 1969, I think it was, kind of highlighting the Cuyahoga River fire. And that really brought the environmental regulations, the environmental concerns across the nation to the forefront at a federal, state, and local level. And a lot of our leaders back then took that and used that for action, developed the Clean Water Act. US EPA was established in 1970. Ohio EPA, we had our 50th year anniversary last October. We started in 1972. We actually have 3 employees who are hitting their 50-year mark with us this year. I hope I don't have to work that long. But, just again, great customer service. The Clean Water Act was passed in 1972. Again, with the goal of making these waters a better environment for generations to come. So the Clean Water Act, I truly feel, was a foundation for cleaning up the Cuyahoga River. And again, we can help showcase that here today. I think out of all this, the partnerships that were derived from the Clean Water Act, not many people think about this, but our partnerships with the City of Cleveland, Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, everybody here today, it's truly a partnership that got us here and continues to drive this economy and the river forward. There's such enthusiasm around the Cuyahoga River and the recovery of Lake Erie. I would challenge anybody in this arena and anybody watching on the news tonight to find a better, more passionate group of individuals and stakeholders. And I challenge you to try to find it, because you're not going to. And that's why everybody plays an integral role here in this cleanup of the river. And of course, I'd be remiss without stating that our Governor Micahel, ever since day one, I don't think there's a meeting that I've been in that doesn't recognize and he brings up water quality in his discussions with Ohio EPA and others. He started H2 Ohio Initiative. He's been a huge supporter of Ohio EPA in helping dam removals and Gorge Dam. That'll be something further to come later this year, hopefully. Again, just an emphasis on clean water, because it is an economy driver, whether it's an Intel or Sherwin-Williams building their world headquarters right here in downtown Cleveland. The water, wastewater, everybody wants that, and it's important. And people are able to come down to this great brewery and enjoy the meal, and that's very important. So as I wrap up here, I just again want to thank everybody for hosting us here today. Ohio EPA and all of our partners here, we are a key pillar of Ohio's economic engine, and the economy and rivers and kayaks, it's just all plays into a great place to live, raise a family, and do business in Ohio. So thank you, everybody.
So let's talk a little bit about water quality, and I'd like to invite Kyle Dreyfuss-Wells to come up here. But one thing I would love to say is Northeast Ohio's Regional Sewer District has been an amazing supportive partner for the vision that we had for Blazing Paddles Paddle Fest. When we came to them in 2018 and we said, we have this idea for a narrative changer for Cleveland's waterfront, they were all in from the get-go, early support, consistent support, and they've been wonderful in helping us pull together this event. So you have my deepest appreciation for the sewer district's involvement. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Jim. That is wonderful, and we really appreciate being there. How's everybody doing? Good? All right, come on, it's a beautiful day. So thanks, Jim, for inviting the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District to the party today, and welcome to Cleveland, Assistant Director. So as Jim said, I'm Kyle Dreyfuss-Wells. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and I am super happy to be with you all today. So as has been mentioned, just 4 years ago, this community celebrated the comeback of this river by marking the 50th anniversary of the 13th, and I promise, final fire on the river. As we all know, that fire led to change, as the Assistant Director has highlighted, with US EPA and the passage of the Clean Water Act. So now, more than 50 years later, we have 72 different types of fish species that have been identified in the Cuyahoga River, many of which are major indicators of clean water. And if you want to talk fish, I'm pointing you to John Rhodes and Seth Hodem to ask any questions about the sewer district's fish work. Those folks are on this river and other rivers in Northeast Ohio, checking out all the progress that we have made. So talk to them. Other sewer district folks are all right here. If you work for the sewer district, keep hands up. All right, so talk to those folks about anything related to the good work that we do. So kayakers, boaters, and swimmers enjoy our lake, rivers, and streams because of the environmental rebound that we have collectively made. That is the deal. This has been a collective effort over the last 5 decades. So I'm very proud of the role that the sewer district has played in bringing this river back to life, investing billions of ratepayer dollars in clean water infrastructure over the past 50 years, and we're continuing that today to maintain the gains and to deal with the water quality issues of the day. So if you look to my right, you will see a fabulous brick building. Everybody take a look at that beautiful building, and you're looking at it. That is the Superior Avenue Pump Station. I know you're all like, is that a museum? So that's the Superior Avenue Pump Station, part of Project Clean Lake, our $3 billion investment to deal with combined sewer overflow as it impacts the Cuyahoga River. And our work, right, awesome. One of our great pump stations. And our work extends beyond Project Clean Lake. So over the course of a year, we treat 90 billion gallons of wastewater. We treat it, we clean it, and we return it to the Cuyahoga River and Lake Erie, and we all do what? Drink it again. That's the beauty, that's the cycle of life right there. Through our regional stormwater management program, we're also restoring streams and controlling stormwater to deal with flooding, erosion, and water quality problems. And then starting this weekend, as we do every year, we are testing water quality on a regular basis at Edgewater Beach and Villa Angela. So that is just a sample of the work that our customers support and that we do to keep water quality in Northeast Ohio. And I'm so excited about this designation, and I'm happy to be here. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jim.
So one of the facets of the previous safety briefings that I always felt was being left out in the Cuyahoga River Safety Task Force meetings was bringing recreation into the conversation. And I'd like to invite Cleveland Metroparks CEO Brian Zimmerman to talk a little bit about their role. But I'd also like to point out what a great partner Cleveland Metroparks has been with the use of Merwin's Wharf over at Rivergate Park. That is a phenomenal spot for our paddlers to put in. Last year, Blazing Paddles had 600 paddlers travel to Cleveland from 15 different states to experience our Cuyahoga River. And they experienced our river through the hospitality and the green space at Merwin's Wharf. And Cleveland Metroparks staff hit it out of the park for us last year, and we look forward to partnering up with them again. But Brian, why don't you cheer for people?
Well, on cue, I called a boat to come down the river, so everybody will pay attention to that and remember nothing that I said. But if you can remember anything that I say is, we talk about safety and being on the water is a privilege, and what the Coast Guard mentioned looks like, this young man here, that this is truly remarkable to have the Coast Guard station here in Cleveland in the activity. We have to be safe on the waters. This is truly a privilege for us. But I do want to say, we were talking with Bill Braun early, and the Metroparks is a little bit come to the party late. William Stinchcomb, our founder, really, focused on the riparian systems. He focused on the on the Rocky River, the Chagrin River, and other tributaries, but really didn't focus much on the Cuyahoga River because of industry. Fast forward now 106 years, and you've seen the evolution. But Bill was one of the first pioneers being on the